Well, hello and welcome back into the Audible. And we're glad to have you along here as we recap what happened this last weekend. And Justin, you wait for football season to get here, and it just seems like it goes in a blur.
It
You know,
did, man. I can't believe it's already basically over with. We've only got two more games left.
2 games left in the high school football season here in the state of Arkansas, and two good ones, obviously. I mean, we got state championship games. We will definitely be talking about that. We're trying to get coaches right now. Been reaching out to coaches this morning, trying to talk to all of the coaches that are involved with the state championship games. I really wish I had done this last week, and the only reason that we didn't is because we were involved in the White County basketball tournament. And to be honest with you, that probably is just a little bit of a lack of planning on my part because, we had a guy that approached us to do the tournament, which, yeah, why not? Well, it's the finals week. Maybe we should wait on that one and not do that one again. But anyway, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, we do appreciate the folks over there at White County for allowing us to come over there. But, I mean, it is finals week. So, anyway.
It is.
That being said, we want to just invite you to leave your comments and just interact with us here. We'll do the best that we can to interact with you today. Also, Facebook, YouTube. And, man, every time I get on this, I get a nose itch. I've got some weird tics when it comes to being on camera. I have my Vicks because when I speak enough, I get stopped up. It's the oddest thing. Apparently, it's not one of those things that is totally uncommon, though, that people actually do it. So if I have to take a break, you know what I'm doing. I don't want you to watch me slather my nose in Vicks, which I really almost feel like I might need to do that right now. Anyway, there was some good football that came on this weekend. Arkansas PBS. You got a chance to watch the 2A game, the 5A game, 6A game, and 7A game. And then on ASN, you got to watch half of the semifinal games. You got Dardanelle and Warren, and you got Fordyce and Boonville, and then the other two semis were Elkins and Stuttgart, and Mansfield and Salem. And we had a great weekend of ball games. And the funny thing is to me, Justin, we got two fan bases right now. They're like, "Don't pick us, don't pick us. Whatever you do, don't pick us." Well, here's the problem with that. Mansfield says, "Don't pick us." I picked Mansfield to win state before the playoffs even started.
Yeah.
And then Fordyce, if you go back, and I'm going to go back and look at it, I actually picked Fordyce to win state before the season started.
Yep.
Now, you're obviously, you're able to change your mind. And, I mean, obviously, if you watch through the season, you see things happen, you think, well, I mean, it wouldn't make any sense if, Fordyce went 5-5, and we're like, oh, well, they're going to win the state championship,
Yeah.
which they didn't,
Nope.
but
even with injuries, had a great season.
yeah, had a great season. So, anyway, we got two fan bases saying, don't pick us, don't pick us, don't pick us. Unfortunately, one of you we've got to pick. We ain't going to do that today, though. We got to look at a members-only stream as well. We really want to kind of go over that. We really haven't had time to do that because of Thanksgiving and because of the White County tournament. We're going to try to get on a schedule for our members only, like a Wednesday night, Wednesday evening type of thing where we can be available. Now that can change, especially during district tournament and regional tournament, state tournament, those sort of things. But we're going to try to get on a schedule there. So anyway, I think I got all the preliminaries out of the way. Let's talk some football. And in the 2A, don't call it an upset. Call it an upset. I'm not sure, but Cross County ended up on top with a victory over East Poinsett County. Now, again, you don't want me to pick you, but if you listen to our Ruskin and Zach segment, who did I pick? Cross County. And the reason I picked Cross County is because it was a revenge game. It was a game that Cross County in the regular season led at 16-6 in the middle of the third quarter. And, man, that thing played out almost exactly the same as it did in the regular season. EPC made a run at the very end. But at the end of the day, Cross County was able to hold off and win that ball game. When we started picking the 2A, Cross County was probably the team that gave me the greatest indigestion because I thought this team is good enough to win it, but I
Yeah.
didn't know if I could make myself pick them, and I didn't. We looked at that Junction City game, and I said, "Oh man, I don't like this at all."
Yeah.
Because
I was the same. I was right there with you.
because the size of Junction or the size of Cross County was the only team in 2A that can match up with the size of Junction City. And then you look at them versus East Poinsett County, and you see that they had played each other earlier in the year, and they were able to hang with them. And then of course you got the Van Pascal factor as well there in it. There's not too many coaches that I'd want to go to battle with more than with Van Pascal. So you had all those things working for you, and Cross County just jumped all over EPC.
They did.
And was up early. I believe it was it 12-0? I think it was 12-0 for a good portion of the game. And then things kind of got hairy there for a little bit with Cross County there in the fourth quarter. But they were able to hold off. And, of course, you got a chance to see Arkansas commitment, or I guess signee now, Danny Beal. Big old boy. He's a hoss.
Yeah, he is. He's a monster. I met him this summer.
He's our 2A player of the year, by the way. He is the 2A player of the year award winner. We've actually got a trophy for him, by the way. So we'll get that out to him. I've actually trying to effort on that. By the way, this year probably going to deliver most of these trophies, which means that there's going to be a lot of miles on the road this year.
Yeah,
Speaking of that, let's do this real quick. I'll be right back.
Wasn't expecting this. I think he's going to go get that trophy. No, but yeah, heck of a season from Cross County this year. Man, my goodness. They I picked Junction City to beat them, but they just proved me wrong. Which, look, prove me wrong. If I pick against you, I'll admit when I'm wrong, but you got to prove it. Oh, here we go. Look at this beauty. Oh, got to move it from the center. Put it right there. It's reflecting too much from the green screen. Yeah, it just washed out with the ASN logo there in the center. Hang on.
I didn't expect that.
Yeah, it's so shiny.
Well, it's gold.
Yeah, it is.
So
move it back a little.
Anyway, yeah, it looks like it's reflecting the.
Yeah, that looks awesome.
Anyway, and it's a little bit taller this year than I think it has been in the past. But that's the award that started it all right there, and I really wish that it would show up, but it is gold, and we started this in 22, so this will be our fourth award winner of our existence, which I think I feel like it's got quite a bit more weight this year than it has in the past. But anyway, that's our D3 MVP award. We've got other awards, Newcomer of the Year. We're taking nominations for that right now. We've got our 2A Player of the Year. I've got a little trophy for that. I've got Coach of the Year. We've got, what else do we have in there? Oh, the Metcalf Trucking Most Outstanding Player. That's a 5-county region. We've got an Offensive Line of the Year trophy, which that is Helping Hand Medical Centers helping with that. Let's see, what else do we got? The Red Plate Award winner, and then we've got the fan vote as well. So we're going to allow you to actually have a vote in the MVP. We'll get that out there. So we'll start voting next week on all of these trophies. And then let me just look at my calendar here real quick, because I know it's coming up pretty quickly. Probably I would say maybe Sunday night the 21st, if we can. We may have an award show on the 21st of the Sunday night before Christmas there. So anyway, got awards to give out. So also, if you're getting an opportunity we've got 2 nomination threads out there right now, so get that out there as well. But anyway, that being said, let's talk. We back to 2A a little bit. this game, I guess I wasn't surprised because I picked it.
Yeah.
But, you got to feel for the folks at EPC. That's the third year in a row that they've made it to the state championship game, and the third year in a row they've lost. And
I wanted them to win so bad.
so I'm trying to think here. Last year was a really good game against Conway Christian. I mean, it went down to the very end. This year was a good game too. I felt like that it was, I guess Cross County kind of controlled it for a good portion of it, but still, EPC made a run at it at the very end and got it down to, I believe it ended up being 20-14.
Yes.
I believe that was the final score there. So it ended up being a good game, but I felt like that game with Conway Christian was a little bit more of a game that they could have won. And then I'm trying to think who they played in 23 here now off the top of my head, and I mean, there's just too much information out there.
I'll look it up real quick.
So Justin's going to look that up real quick. So anyway, Cross County ends up on top of our poll. East Poinsett County at number 2. Mount Ida, did that come over?
I don't think so. The car drove by loud.
Mount Ida at number 3, Desark 4, Junction City 5, Carlisle, Poen, Mineral, Hampton, and Hector. I'm probably
Bigelow.
Yeah.
They lost to Bigelow 28-14.
Okay, that's right. Bigelow's a really good 2A team that year too.
Yeah, they were, man.
They were really good. I'm probably going to come out with a power poll. So we have our rankings, and I'll just explain a little bit about how we do our rankings. At the end, I just feel like that, you play for your ranking, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
in the playoffs, you do.
Right. So you get an opportunity to show that what you're supposed to be ranked, and I felt like that let's show respect to the teams that made it as far as they did. So that's why the top 4 and 5 through 8 and 9 and 10 are like they are. So if you look at the top 4, those were semifinal teams. Your 4 through 8 or 5 through 8 are teams that got beat out in the second round, and then your 9 and 10, Hector and Hampton, got beat out in the first round. But those were the ones that I felt like, how they played. I felt like we could arrange them like that, round by round. But I do think there's something to be said about a power poll as well, where you literally you rank the teams that you think are, this team can beat this team, and this team can beat this team, and this team can beat this team.
Neutral site, by the way.
Right. So looking at possibly doing that for the weekend. Also, I'm probably going to put out a actual top 25 poll. I see these top 25 polls that are out there right now, and they're garbage. I mean, they are. They just are. But anyway. So we're going to put out a top 25 poll as well. What do you got? I saw some comments there.
On the Facebook. Big Block 402 saying that O-line and D-line for Cross County was just good, and they were.
They were getting a push all in the backfield all game long.
Yeah, and there was APC wasn't getting in the backfield at all.
Right, it was the difference in the ball game. And again, I think the only team that could have matched up size-wise to Cross County was Junction City.
Yeah,
and we saw what happened there. So I mean, they went to Junction City.
Shocker there, that game could have gone either way. But how it happened, wow.
Well, the thing about Junction City was I think they were a great team. I think that they just weren't challenged for quite a while.
Yeah.
That conference that they were in wasn't quite as good as the others were. In fact, I think it was probably the weakest of the 4. I'm not totally sure, but pretty close. Anyway, with that being said, I think that the lack of challenging was a problem there for Junction City. They just weren't challenged enough toward the end of the year, and I think that ended up being a problem. And you look at Cross County, they played East Poinsett County, they played Desark. Those two right there were at the top of the game. Earl, they were really good, but they had all the issues that they had, and so they ended up not being in the rankings there, and they ended up not being in the playoffs. But really, when you look at those guys, they were right there at the top too. So anyway, there was a lot of challenging there for Cross County, and it ended up being, I think, what was the difference for them. So congratulations to Cross County and their fans getting a chance to win a state championship. I don't even know how long it's been since they've won one, if they have ever won one. That's the thing about it is it's hard to keep up with all the history and stuff that goes on with these things.
Just so many programs out there. I mean,
Right.
you remember the Bryants because they win so many in a row, like Taylor and
Oh, yeah,
softball.
Barton's
And
and Fordyce and
just,
all that. I mean, it's easy to remember those
yeah.
guys. But anyway, let's move on to 3A right now. And we got semifinal action in the 3A. So we've got a championship game, and it's between two teams that doesn't want ASN to pick them. I mean, literally in the thread, you've got both schools saying, "Don't pick us, don't pick us, don't pick us." Well, I'm going to tell you what, we're going to bring out the receipts here pretty soon. I've actually got a video pulled up. We're probably going to even start working on that after we get done here about what was actually said.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, I will tell you, I had an interesting weekend. We'll talk about it because it definitely ties into this. And you can attest to this a little bit because you were there. I was not. But at Fordyce we had some issues in the stands, and one of the reasons we had issues in the stands, and I wanted to say right now that the Fordyce admin handled it beautifully.
And community, they were wonderful. The actual Fordyce people
handled it beautifully. I mean, it was, you just run into things, you just do. And I'm going to tie this into something else too, so I'm not just complaining. But anyway, when we had that issue there in the stands at Fordyce because we didn't pick Fordyce, which we did pick them against Boonville, by the way.
Yeah.
But we didn't pick them. I say we. I didn't. I don't know about everybody else. And I guess since I'm the head of it, I guess we is I.
Yep.
Whatever it is. But
I'll defend them.
Anyway, with that said, I picked Charleston to beat them. I picked Mayflower to beat them. Charleston, they beat Charleston on a 2-point conversion at the end of the game. I mean, it's not like that pick was so far out. They handled Mayflower pretty good. I still think Mayflower's defense was the best in 2A.
3A.
3A, sorry. Yes, I think it was. But I do think that having Tim Rogers is a big deal.
And that's not to take away from Fordyce's defense either. They had a spectacular year on defense.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of defenses out there. I mean, Salem had a great defense too.
Yeah, they did.
All year long. I mean, Mansfield, right? Mansfield got them pretty good there. Mansfield got everybody pretty good.
Yeah,
I mean, that's just
they're a good.
That's where they're at right now. Anyway, then I walk into Buffalo Wild Wings on Friday night here in Russellville, and I had two people approach me and want to take a picture with me. That's never happened to me before.
Yeah.
And the only reason I say that, and I'm not trying to tap myself on the back, all I'm saying is that we're getting out there, obviously. I mean, everybody's hearing what we say. But the problem is they're not hearing what we say. They're hearing what they want to hear. And a lot of times people hear, well, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. I mean, I know Mansfield was upset when we didn't include them. I think we might have started them 8th this year. And look, let's just be honest. I'm just going to be honest with you on this. Mansfield is a very good program right now. Absolutely, an unbelievably good program. In fact, right now they're the best one in that conference there, 3A1. I mean, even they've beaten Boonville the last 2 years. They've beaten Charleston the last 2 years. They have been able to overcome the behemoths in that conference there. That apparently their junior high is something to behold at this point. I think they've won conference. So seems to be a little bit of a changing of the guard there. But historically, who's the best two teams in that?
Oh, Boonville, Charleston.
Boonville, Charleston.
Period.
So sometimes when you do preseason,
after seeing Charleston to start the year off, I picked them. They were my pick.
Well, Charleston
after game 2 to win it, just because they were good.
I'm going to go back to what I said. I said Charleston. I felt like Charleston would be in War Memorial. I picked them to be in War Memorial. I picked them against Mansfield.
Yep.
Do you think if Charleston had beaten Fordyce, they'd be? I mean, it's a good chance. I'm not saying it's a dead set that it would have happened, but I think it's a good chance.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been a great game. I mean, they would have got. I don't see Charleston not getting past Mayflower or Boonville at that point.
Right.
Just based on what they'd already done in the season.
Right.
So, yeah, Fordyce don't make that 2-point conversion, we're probably having a different conversation right now.
Well, I think we're looking at a Charleston Mansfield.
Yeah, really
I mean,
do.
very possibly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not totally. I mean, Mayflower could have matched up differently than what Fordyce did. But anyway, all that being said, when people say, well, don't pick us, and you say, well, you don't really know what you're talking about. Well, hold on just a minute.
Yeah, I got told that.
I picked Charleston to win. They lost by 1, and I said that they would go to the final game. And then I even said, I'm pretty sure that I said the winner of that game would probably go to the final game, even though the next week I didn't pick Fordyce. And you know what? I'll say that's on me. That's on me right there. But anyway, I'm just throwing it out there.
And what everybody else got to, we're basing our pick, you know, we didn't see Cadillac for a long, we saw him at the start of the season. He's injured. Not going to talk about his injury. Talk to it about his dad. It's hard to pick a team with a start QB who's a mobile QB that can't move right now. That's got to play a part of it, and that's not taking nothing away from Cadillac because that man has had a great season, being as banged up as he is, but you can see it sometimes. He's in pain.
Oh yeah. Well, and here's another thing.
He's a tough young man, though.
And again, we have to go by what you're doing, you know. And we saw that they lost to Lakeside.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just going to be honest with you, and nothing against Lakeside when I say this, Coach Green. If you're watching right now, I'm not trying to hammer you at all when I say this, but if you're losing to Lakeside, I don't consider you a state championship contender. Now, I think Lakeside's a pretty good football team. Don't get me wrong.
And they're going to get better.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but what I'm just saying this year, a team that didn't make the playoffs, how many state championship contenders do you have that lose to a team that didn't make the playoffs? Not very many. I'm not saying it don't happen. But then, Coach Hammond said, their AD, he said, that was a good loss for us. We needed that.
Yeah.
Okay? So, look, it makes total sense. I understand that.
Refocused them entirely after that.
That being said, Fordyce is a really good football team.
Yes, they are.
They're a really good football team. Anyway, let's talk about
speed all over the field. I had so much fun there last Friday night. The Fordyce community were awesome.
You love South Arkansas.
Oh, I love South Arkansas.
Now, I'm telling you right now, we're not just saying that.
Yeah. No,
Justin really loves South Arkansas.
100% the absolute truth.
The promised land. He thinks that South Arkansas is the promised land.
It's a different world down there, baby.
It is. You love it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's talk a little bit about what happened down there in that Booneville game. That was a really good game.
It really was. I didn't expect what we got, honestly. I honestly thought Booneville would be down to the last possession, and Booneville just didn't have enough gas in the tank. Didn't have enough on defense to account for everybody on Fordyce's offense. Speed kills, and Fordyce has speed.
Yeah.
And that's what makes this Mansfield game so interesting for me is, they got speed too. Is it speed enough to match up with Fordyce? I just don't know. I mean, I haven't seen Mansfield in person, but what they're doing on the field just from, afar, and I watched a little bit of their stream the other night. My goodness, it looks like they're right there with Fordyce when it comes to the speed, but I could be wrong here.
I feel like Mansfield right now is just playing so well.
Yeah, they're a fine-tuned
machine
right now.
I said before the playoffs, I said that Mansfield was playing the best of anybody.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen anything to prove me otherwise. Now here's the difference.
Putting up 80 in a playoff game. What?
Here's the difference. Is Fordyce just that much better than everybody else that when they come in to play Mansfield that they'll be able to overcome? Now here's another question. Fordyce has all kinds of state championship, and we don't need to get too much into breaking down. We'll talk about that later. But I'm talking about Fordyce, and I'm talking about Coach Rogers mainly, has state championship experience in a bunch of them. And he knows what to expect. He knows what to do. And I'm going to tell you, he has earned a ton of my respect.
His ability to break down other teams' film and find just the one thing that his team can do to just sway that game in their favor just enough to win it. Just like he did with Mayflower. He talked about it with us. He said, hey, well, I saw some things that we can exploit. Yeah. And that's what they did to Booneville. They just did the same kind of thing. Yeah. Just found things that they could exploit all night.
Booneville's been to that group, which I know they hung their hat on that junior group there, I said junior, senior group this year. They hung their hat on that group and thought that they were going to win state championship, and they went down there twice.
Yeah.
And and lost. That was 2 years in a row there. Going to be very physical. Adam Hecox, he says 3A championship going to be a very physical game. Both teams have played a grueling playoff schedule, but for Mansfield, I think it means more to them, and that that could give them the edge. Go Tigers. So that's another thing. Everybody thinks that their team has the edge, right?
Yeah.
Because nobody wants to go in and lose the state championship
No,
game.
not at all.
We'll talk about that. We will talk about that. We're going to break them down, 3A, 4A. We're going to break them down. But right now, let's just talk about what happened. Adam, I really appreciate you watching, by the way. You're a great fan of ours. Let's see here.
Yeah, the Mansfield game, when I was trying to watch while I was streaming the Fordyce game, just trying to keep up with everything going on in the state.
Yeah.
They look good.
Oh,
You
man.
can't take nothing away from Mansfield at all. Defensively, offensively, they are firing on all cylinders.
I said all year that I felt like that top three in 3A was as good as the top three as we've seen, and Mansfield obliterated the other two.
Yeah.
They really did. So let's talk about that. Salem came down. Mansfield and Salem for the third season in a row met in the playoffs. 2 years ago, you had Mansfield going to Salem, who was undefeated at that time, and winning that ball game and moving on in the semifinals for the first time in their history. And then they were unable to overcome, but they made it further than they ever had. Now, in my mind, I really thought, well, Mansfield's made a good run. We've probably seen the last of them. Oh, no, we haven't. So then next year, they made it into the semifinals again. This time, Salem goes down there, chip on their shoulder. And, it was very similar. And I'll talk about this when I break down, but Salem last year, when they beat Rivercrest 50-18, I said, this is the team. Or I should have known this was the team. At that time, I felt like that Bismarck was going to be the team that won.
Yeah, right.
We've seen Bismarck a lot. We think they're very good. Everything about them. They play hard, all that. Anyway, 50-18 victory over Rivercrest. We should have known at that point Salem was the team. So this year, you fast forward, and here we go again. We've got a same matchup, same place type of matchup, and Mansfield was the one with the chip on their shoulder this time, right?
Yeah, big chip.
And they ended up winning that game 48-22, I think.
Yep.
Is what it ended up being. And man, it was just surprising. I mean, it was just surprising the dominance. Again, I picked Mansfield to win state before the tournament even started. So obviously, I felt like, and I did pick them to win that ball game. I picked them over Salem in that ball game when we picked it out. With that being said, I didn't expect them to win 48-22.
Nope. I expected much closer.
Right. And Andrew Burton, man, that dude is a dog. He's got over 2,000 yards rushing this year. Let me tell you something. I don't care who you are. If you've got 2,000 yards rushing, you're really, really good. Really, really good. Anyway, got a comment here. I said I would have said I was surprised with the Mansfield-Salem game, but Mansfield has just been on fire. I agree. I mean, they just right now, and that was Big Block 402 that said that. I agree. They're playing well. Let me see here. What else we got here? Fordyce will give Mansfield matchup problems, making Lake Village honorary state champions. I love it. Go Fordyce. Our conference always sticks together. Listen, Coach Green, I promise you I am not trying to disparage you when I tell you that. I promise. I'm just saying what everybody would be thinking, right? I guess that's part of my problem, and that really has been my problem in life in general, is that I usually say what everybody else just keeps to themselves and thinks. But I do, I'll tell you what, it could very well be. But Coach Green, I really, really like your stuff, man. I think you're doing a good job down there. Mansfield has been underestimated all year, and we have continued to prove those people wrong.
Who's underestimated Mansfield?
Rona Watts says that. Well,
I don't know anybody who's underestimated them this year. My goodness.
Well, what does that mean? You know what I mean? When you talk about that, well, number one, we started them off at 8 in the poll, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we started. I guess that was underestimating them in some way because they are number one right now.
They've got to start somewhere.
I mean, I agree, and we always say this: the rankings will take care of themselves. Well, guess what?
They took care of
If
themselves.
Fordyce beats Mansfield, then guess who's going to be number one next week?
Yeah, it's going to be
Fordyce. Exactly. And who's going to be number two? Mansfield, because that's what they've earned. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I do. I mean, maybe we did underestimate them a little bit, but I can tell you it wasn't very long until they were in the top 5, and then they were in the top 3, and then they were in the top 2.
And they've been there all
yeah,
season
I mean,
since.
well, they really haven't been below top 5 since maybe the 3rd week of the
Yeah.
season. I mean, it hadn't been that long. So, and when you get in the top 5, nobody's underestimating anybody, because if you're in the top 5, that means you can win it all. I think I would almost say you could almost draw a line underneath the 5th team. Not always, but most of the time. You can almost draw a line underneath the 5th team and say that's probably all that are going to be able to win it. Now, I think 3A probably had maybe a couple more that were capable of winning it, but and 4A as well. But I'm just telling you, look at the top 5. Let's just say after week 3, after the non-conference, and look at it and tell me that you usually don't find people that win it below that. That's just me. You know, there's a old saying in college basketball. I saw this yesterday, that the top 12 teams in week 6, in the week 6 poll, since like 2020 or 2003, 203, 204, somewhere in there, nobody has won the NCAA championship outside of that.
Yeah.
And this week's poll, they had the top 12, and they're just basically saying you can pick your top 12 out of that. So, anyway, Ronald Watts says, I'm not so much referring to you guys as some of the other schools and their fans.
Hey,
I get it. What we got?
Big block. Thanks for joining us,
man.
buddy. That's awesome.
Yeah, we're gonna do members only stream coming up.
We have more time now that football season's over with.
Right. Yeah, we're definitely gonna do some stuff. We're gonna we appreciate you joining us though, for sure. But I understand what you're saying, Miss Watts. I get it. I'm just trying to walk through it, because I will say that y'all do have some of your fans are saying the same, that we have underestimated, which, you know, it is what it is. I mean, when you're on this platform and this platform continues to grow as it does, I mean, obviously we're getting out there. Because, again, going back to the reactions we had, you guys had issues in the stands. I got people wanting to take pictures with me. I mean, it's just stuff that we're just not used to.
I spent 2 hours just mingling with fans at Fordhouse. But I could have stopped somewhere to eat, but I didn't, because they had barbecue, birria, tacos, ribs, fried fish.
You just made the best decision, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, it was business decision what it was. They were wonderful down there, and you know that's that Southern hospitality. The food was so good.
All right, we'll talk about what we think is going to happen later on. But let's talk about 4A now, and let's talk about Darnell Warren. We were at that ball game. And Creed Vega, if he didn't win the D3 Auto Sales MVP, I'm not sure. I mean, we'll find out. It's going to be a vote, but I can tell you right now, my number one's Creed Vega. I don't care what happens this weekend.
Yeah.
7 rushing touchdowns. I had him for 309. He kneeled it out. There was like 10 yards of loss in that. So he had 319 is what I had him for. You know, when you keep stats, I mean, you've got one guy that is like the official stat keeper, right? So whatever the official stat keeper says is what he has. I saw another number that said 327. Whatever it was.
Either way,
he had
incredible.
over 300 yards rushing and 7 touchdowns.
The play call was Vega left or Vega right.
I mean, it really was.
Stop us if you can.
It really was. They ran a power sweep. Yeah.
Option power sweep?
It was a read. It was a power sweep read that they just ran over and over and over again. They were pulling the backside. Well, I guess it was what you'd call – it's hard to tell you because it was such a mix of different plays. There was a little GT counter in there. There was a little bit of a power read in that. I guess you could call it a power read. It's what you'd call it. They ran that a lot, but Vega kept that a lot. And anyway, and then they ran a little zone, outside zone that they ran out of that, and it was an impressive performance. At one time, I called it. You could hear it on our broadcast there, and I was like, he's hobbling. Oh, but he's at the 50, the 40, the 30, and I mean, he just
80-yard touchdown.
Right, he just kept running, and I'm like,
The funny part is that I literally was tuning in to check the score
Yeah.
right when that was happening, and as soon as the play started, I'm like, oh my gosh, this Vegas. He just went for 80. It,
Yeah.
it was just what 6-7 seconds. He was down. It
Right.
didn't take him long at all.
Liz Slack says Buchanan for EPC wasn't given the ball enough to show off his talent. He's very good.
We agree.
Aaron Ragland says, I'm going Mansfield and Elkins this weekend. I know somebody else that might be going the same way you are. Well, hey, easy. Big Block says, I graduated from Rivercrest. My kids go to EPC. I pull for these NWA or NEA teams here. And he said, I would have loved to have seen Gosnell play Dardanelle, but Warren is another one of those great playoff teams. Exactly. So that was another thing. Let me tell you a little bit of something about that.
Sorry.
So let me tell you, there was a demon exercise there this weekend because 11 years ago to the day, Warren came up there with the same record, 3 losses, and ended up beating Dardanelle when Dardanelle was probably the best team. In fact, the old story goes that Bo Embry even told them they were the best team, but they ended up winning. All I'm saying is that Bo can pull out a win anytime that he gets ready to do it. This time he just didn't have enough defense. I mean, I'm going to tell you something. Their quarterback there at Warren has got a cannon.
Yeah, he does.
A cannon. I mean, that dude he's got a cannon. I'll tell you what. And then Blaze Fellows, I was totally impressed by him. He came up with, I believe it was 1,700 yards is what he had coming into the ball game.
That's nuts.
Yeah, 1,700 yards receiving, and he came into the ball game with that. I think he ended up with about 120, 130, whatever it was there. I was blown away by how good they were. Jackson Denton, the quarterback there, he's not real big, but my gosh, that kid can sling it. I mean,
he can.
He can sling it for sure. Anyway, with that said, Dardanelle really didn't stop. I mean, I will say this. We expected it to go back and forth, and there were some stops here and there. There were a few stops here and there that you're like, oh, okay. But then for the most part, it was Warren just over the top, throwing deep. They were able to get it. The difference in the ball game, as much as Creed Vega scored 7 touchdowns, the difference in the ball game was the interception at the end there. That right after. So Warren scores, goes for 2. They're up 36-35. And Dardanelle takes the ensuing kickoff, drives it all the way back down the field. On the kickoff, the Branson kid takes it all the way to the 3-yard line. Now, that was a huge flip because I felt like at that point Warren had the momentum. And he flipped it. Well, I mean, on the next play, they scored a touchdown. And then it was the very next play from scrimmage after the kickoff from Warren that they threw the interception, and that ended up being enough.
Yep.
Because it was just a few plays later that Vegas scored, and then it was just like a couple kickoffs. So 2 kickoffs in a row. So think about this. Dardanelle was down 36-35 with like 8 minutes to go, and they ended up winning the game 56-36. Well, they scored on the kickoff to get back to a lead, which I think they ended up going for 2. Yes, they did. And that ended up getting them back to a 7-point lead. Then they get the interception. They score again. They kick the field goal. That's a 14-point lead. They get the ensuing kickoff. So the kickoff goes deep. The ball is loose, and Warren doesn't pick it up. Kid from Dardanelle slides in and gets it before it goes out of bounds. And
which was a spectacular heads-up play.
Great play.
It really was.
It was a great play. And then they scored again to make it 56-36. The next kickoff, they did it again. And then at that point, it was over.
Yeah.
At that point, it was done.
That's just a bunch of mental mistakes.
But let me tell you something. I mean, as athletic as Warren was, Dardanelle was the better team, and Bo Embry kept them in it.
Yeah.
Bo Embry kept them in the game. So a lot of kudos to that. So when we go back to the Gosnell comment there, part of that is Bo Embry is just so good, and he's very, very hard to beat. And, he's one of the very, very best coaches in the state of Arkansas for a reason.
Yep.
He is. So when you beat him, you've done something. I'll say that right now.
That is a fact.
Let's go to the other 4A game. Didn't get a chance to watch that as much, but here's what I know. I picked Elkins. I've got the tape to prove it.
Yep.
And the reason I picked Elkins is because their defense is phenomenal. They're really good defense, and they handled Stuttgart, a 12-0 team on their home field in the semifinals, and they went over there and handled them. And I'm telling you right now, that group right there is nobody's talked about them this year. They have been up there all year long, and I think everybody just kind of expected them to just take a step back. They made it to the state championship last year. They've had a good run, but
5 solid years of really good football from Elkins.
Well,
or more.
22, and they went to the quarters and played Nashville. They were up 62-56 with 7 seconds to go and lost in the quarters.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Then turned around the next year and lost the game against Harding Academy. We were at that game. They lost 41-27. Deshaun Chairs returned a punt with 2 minutes to go, and it got called back. It was a very questionable call.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, they called it back, and that ended up taking them from a one-score game. Harding Academy deserved to win that game. Harding Academy was a fantastic football team.
Yes, they were.
But Elkins was really, really good. In fact, of all the teams that made it as far as they have, that might have been the best Elkins team to ever play, and they lost in the semis. And then last year, they ended up losing in the championship game, and it says 28-0. People say, well, they got their butt kicked. They were down 7-0 going into the fourth quarter. It did fall apart for them in the fourth, but they were down 7-0 going into the fourth. So, yes, they are an established 4A program at this point that you have to consider them for a championship almost yearly, if not yearly.
I also don't want to take anything away from Kane Price, though, because that young man, he has a bright future ahead of him.
So Price is also one of those guys that's going to be vying for that trophy right there.
Yeah, he is.
He's
Heck of a season.
Yeah, he's going to be in one of the top 10, I would assume. We'll take a look at that. We are taking a look at that now. But yeah, he's definitely been one of those kids that, Stuttgart is a very good football team, but if you take Kane Price off that football team, how good are they?
Yeah.
Of course, you can say that about a lot of teams, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can say that about a bunch of teams. So, anyway, Brian Bernard says Elkins showed up with the defense and Kane wasn't very accurate. Riceburg didn't play well. Kudos to Elkins. Well, Brian, I can understand where you're coming from there, but a lot of times when somebody doesn't play well, the reason they don't play well is because the other team's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's just how it is. I
see that quite often.
It's hard to just sit and admit, well, we got beat. And that, when you get beat 55-21, you got beat. Why were they not accurate? Well, because he was getting pressure on him.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's been accurate all year.
Mm-hmm.
Why would he be inaccurate this time? It's not like he changed his throwing motion. Well, what happened? He was knocked off his perch. When you're able to throw, this is any quarterback at any level. When you're able to stand back there on your perch and Tom Brady's a perfect example of this. I'm going to tell you one of the reasons why Tom Brady is considered the GOAT. I'm probably going to throw some kerosene on the fire right now when I tell you. I do not think that Tom Brady is the most talented quarterback that ever played.
Oh gosh, no, he's not even close.
I think personally,
that's Dan Marino.
I personally think that Peyton Manning, if you look at what he did on the field, I think Peyton Manning was as good a quarterback as Dan Marino was too. Dan Marino played in a different era than
he did.
But I'm telling you, if you want to talk about bridging the gap between two eras, Peyton Manning was that guy.
He was.
And he was phenomenal. And he did things that I've never seen done. And then you get into the LeBron James, Michael Jordan debate where
That's not
you
a
played.
debate.
You played so long and all the added stats, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, all that being said, there's an offensive line in front of you that makes a quarterback be good. And I felt like that Brady had as good offensive lines as anybody out there, and it made a huge difference.
6 times.
6 times that the Patriots have won with the
Bucks,
Bucks, and then 3 losses on top of that. I mean, goodness gracious, went 10 times.
Yeah, which is spectacular.
Anyway, all that being said, Tina Honeycutt, she says, Elkins, exclamation, 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 exclamation.
And don't feel that I have zero love for Elkins. My aunt and uncle live up there. My cousins went to school there. I got ties up there. I'm not going to disparage Elkins at all. Trying not to.
Elkins,
they're a good football team.
They're
You
good.
can't take nothing away from them.
They're good.
They deserve to be where they're at this year. Period.
I keep saying it. And
Back-to-back trips in the 4A, my gosh.
The Elkins people might want me to shut up, but Zach Watson's one of the best out there. I'm telling you.
Hands down.
I'm telling you.
Yeah,
he's really
he
good.
really is. He's one of the top 10 players in the state probably.
Well, I'm talking about coaches.
Oh, coach, I'm sorry. I wouldn't.
He's one of the best coaches out there. He really is. Anyway, let's talk about 5A real quick. Robinson done their thing, man.
They handle business.
They are
what they did.
We had them. Somebody asked me before, and this was again. If you want to find out what I pick, all you got to do is go listen to the radio or go watch the first part of our broadcast because it's out there. They said, "Would you take Robinson to the field?" I said, "I'll take Robinson." And that ended up being right. Lakeside was playing very well. They ended up turning the ball over 4 times in that ball game, which ended up – I think they were competitive with Robinson. Probably you take those 4 turnovers away, and Robinson, I don't know, maybe they don't win. I'm not sure. With that being said, I just feel like that Robinson was the best team. They proved to be the best team. They beat Lakeside twice in the season. All comers, it didn't matter. They even beat 6A Jonesboro. Are they 6A? Yeah, they're 6A. They beat them. Silverfield needs to reach out to Frampton. Isn't he just a junior? That's a good question. I'll have to check in on that.
There's a lot of players Silverfield needs to reach out to.
Exactly.
And he will, I think. He seems to be dedicated to it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Anyway, Robinson was definitely a unbelievable team this year. Finished undefeated, and I really there ain't a lot else to say about it. You don't turn the ball over 4 times in that game. Kevin Robinson, fantastic player. He's going off to Texas. Where is it that he's going? I know I just slipped my mind. He is going to, was it Tarleton State that he's going to? No, Stephen F. Austin. He's going to Stephen. That's a great school down there that he's going to, and he's going to be a force down there. And then, really, again, there wasn't much else to say. When you turn it over 4 times, it just kind of takes some wind out of your sail. That would end up being a 34-19 ball game. All right, let's move on to 6A. Now, here's probably the shocker of the weekend.
Dadgum right it was. I did not expect this at all.
Again, for those people that don't want me to pick you, go back and listen to what I've said about Shiloh. Right?
He picked him.
No, I didn't pick him. I didn't pick him. But what I did say about Shiloh was that Shiloh was the one team in 6A that can compete with them.
Yeah.
And they ended up doing it. And one of the things,
competed.
and you want to talk about get your quarterback in trouble. I mean, now Greenwood put up 50 points and came through 6 touchdowns, but they pressured him.
He also gave up a fumble. Right on the goal line. Well,
he threw 2 picks.
Yeah.
Which I don't know how many games in his career he's thrown 2 picks.
Nah.
But and I'll say this. I stand by what I say about Kane Archer. I'm going to say that right now.
Yes.
I feel like Kane Archer is the greatest quarterback to ever play in the state of Arkansas. But when you are running for your life,
which he was doing all night long,
I do not care. What kind of quarterback you are, you're not going to win that way. And they still scored 50. So it wasn't like the offense was the major issue. It was the defense that ended up being a major issue for them. And Shiloh just came in with a game plan.
Yeah,
they came in with a game plan, and it was, we're going to run it right at these suckers. And Griffin Mason there had a fantastic ball game. I think he ended up with 4 touchdowns, almost 200 yards. And they had him on the sideline in the third quarter massaging his hamstring because he was hurting. I mean,
This is a Kane stat for the year that I've got so far. This is SB Live, so it could be wrong. He was 280 completions, 374 attempts, good for 74.9%, 3,500 yards, 6 total interceptions.
That's right. 34 touchdowns, and which he threw 57 touchdowns last year.
Yeah.
I mean, he ran for over 50 in his career. I mean, what can you say about it at this point?
Yeah.
I mean, he's again 38-1 as a starter. That was probably the most surprising thing right there was just the loss and the fact that he ended up with the one loss as a starter. But I mean,
he had 28 rushing touchdowns this year.
Yes.
That's nuts.
Yes. I mean, that it's something else.
Almost 1,300 yards on the ground. Yeah,
Right.
That's a spectacular season. Period.
Right.
That boy's a dog. You can't.
Oh yeah.
You can't take
oh,
nothing away from
and
him.
that was another thing is he was competing down toward the end when it was definitely over, and he just kept going. He just kept fighting. So anyway,
That's
but
the kind of competitor you want on your
it
team.
ain't about Greenwood. It's about Shiloh.
Yep, it's about Shiloh.
Shiloh moves up to 7A now after this, and you know one of the things about moving up, I didn't know this, but you don't just automatically fall down. You have to have a losing record in conference for 2 consecutive years to fall down.
Yep.
So they're up there, and they're probably going to stay up there.
Yeah, they're not going to have a losing record.
I mean, you know, Pulaski Academy's going through that right now. Now, Pulaski, if they lose next year, if they had a losing record next year in conference, then they would fall back down.
Yep.
But Little Rock Christian is staying up there. So what I'm saying is that when you move up there, you're going to move up there and stay up there probably. And they went from, they went from 2A all the way to 7A.
They were 2A when I was in, I want to say they were 2A when I was in high school. Might have been they were already playing 3A football, but 2A basketball, if I'm not mistaken, still. This is what 2000.
So there were some years
something like that.
There were some years that they were still 2A.
Yeah.
But they were playing 3A. They were playing Gravette, Gentry, because the 2A teams would not play them.
Yeah, exactly.
And so they were playing their conference games were the 3A, and they were just beating the heck out of everybody. And then
they moved up to 4A, I think, my senior year because Pottsville moved up to 3A.
And so they moved up to 4A, and they stayed in 4A for a while, and then
won a bunch of championships.
Right, and then they moved to 5A, and they ended up winning the 5A championship. Lost 3, I think, but this was the 7th year in a row that they've been to the state title game,
which is nuts.
And the craziest thing is they're moving to 7, Greenwood's moving to 5. And you know who's
baffling. I don't know how that happens.
Do you know who says yay for that? Van Buren, Russellville, Lake Hamilton, Mountain Home. I mean, it changes that conference quite a bit. So that there's big changes there.
Shoot, I'd be surprised if Russellville ain't dropping.
Well, as far as competitiveness, you don't drop. In public schools, you don't do that. Private schools are the ones that do that. Now, I have heard some things that's gonna there's gonna be some challenges to that. We'll see how that goes.
It's more rules for me, not rules for thee.
Well, here's the thing. Used to private schools won every time, all the time, right?
And it was ridiculous.
And I feel like that this has done some things to level the playing field a little bit. The problem is that everybody does the same things that the private schools do now. I mean, it's not like that those people, and I won't use the R word, but somehow they gather talent. Somehow they gather talent to their area.
I'll use it. They recruit.
Okay.
They give their parents big jobs at Tyson and Walmart.
I don't even know if it's that. I mean,
that's what it's always been.
Well, look, you look at your Little Rock schools right now. You don't even have to do that. They just jump from one school to the next. I mean, Central Arkansas Christian got absolutely decimated 2 years ago by it.
Yes, they did. Bad.
I mean, they looked like a team that was going to fight for a state championship in the 4A. And they ended up losing their quarterback, who's a backup at the University of Arkansas right now, and running backs and all kinds of players. And they went from being a team that would have possibly competed for 4A to a team that could barely make the playoffs.
Yep.
And
are they still in the 4A? Or they dropped?
They are. They're still in the 4A. But anyway, all that said, Shiloh, let's get back to that a little bit. Shiloh, I think, obviously, I mean, Greenwood had the longest winning streak in the state right there at 38 games in a row. And, Shiloh knocked them off. That was a big-time
Yeah,
win
it
for
was.
Shiloh. And I
Hats off to him.
I said Shiloh's the one that can compete with them. That's all I got. Let's move to 7A real quick. So here's one that I got wrong.
Man, this game had me sweating.
Here's one that I got wrong right here, and that is this Bryant-Bentonville game. And I said, and I promise you, this will be my standard until it is from now till forever. I will pick Bryant until Bryant loses.
Yep.
I will pick them. I will pick them until they don't win the state championship, and I might have to pick them 2 years in a row.
Yeah, just to prove yourself wrong.
So I felt like Bentonville had one of their best teams in
And they did.
years, and I think they did. And I know Rogers did, and Rogers had them beat. Rogers was up 35-21 in the semifinals with 2 minutes and 51 seconds to go. And Bentonville, in my opinion, it was a better team than Rogers.
Yeah,
And
I think you're right
so
there.
I just felt like that there was a real possibility that Bentonville would win this game, and they didn't. And Bryant jumped all over them, and they kept them down. And, again, I promise you, if you're watching right now, you can clip this. You can do whatever you want to do with this. I will not pick against Bryant until they lose. Next year, I can guarantee you in ASN rankings, Bryant will be number one.
Yep.
And they will stay number one. Even if they lose a non-conference game, they'll probably stay number one because they play out-of-state non-conference teams now and all that stuff.
Some of the best schools in the country.
Now, I'll say this. If they lose to Benton first game, then we might. And I'm not saying
They're not going to lose to Benton.
I'm not saying that there's anything. Eventually, they will lose to Benton. Eventually. They cannot beat Benton every year. I know they've won the last 20, but they can't beat them every. In fact, I think they've won the last 21 or 22. They can't. Eventually, Benton will win that game. They will. I don't care.
I'll tell you when.
I will tell you right here. I'll tell you right now. Let's use Arkansas as an example. Arkansas hasn't beaten Alabama since 2006.
Yeah.
Eventually, I can't tell you when. It might not be in our lifetime. Arkansas will beat Alabama at some point. Why? Because eventually it just happens. It just happens.
Yeah, it's been a long time since 06.
Sharon Davidson Conacy. How do you say that? Konecki. Sharon, I can't say your last name. I'm sorry. Maybe you can give me a pronunciation guide. She says to Brian Bernard, unfortunately, it was our worst performance of the year when we needed it to be our best. Listen, I mean, and it could have been. And, I mean, there's some – I will say, when Elkins played in that semifinal a couple of years back, I don't know if Elkins wasn't the better team overall. I'm not sure. I mean, listen, that was like two titans going at each other. I mean, they were so good, both of them. But Elkins dropped 8 balls. 3 of them would have went for touchdowns.
Yeah.
3 of them would have went for touchdowns. They dropped 8. The lights were too big that time for Elkins. But guess what? What happened? They learned from it.
Yes, they
and
did.
what did they do? They took that performance and they capitalized, and they went to the state championship last year, and here they are again this year. The groundwork was laid. So, Stuttgart, you may be the same way.
Yeah. And, Stuttgart, I got to watch y'all play firsthand. Y'all have got a great football team this year. And you got, 2 more years, Kane Price?
Nope, 1.
1? Okay, 1 more year. He's still got a bright year ahead of him. Like, don't.
No,
he's going to be fine.
Senior year Kane will be like senior year.
Yeah.
It may be Kane Archer even. I mean, he'll be, like the Terminator out there.
He's a great football player, and he's got great players around him.
Yeah.
And a great coach.
Yeah.
Can't take nothing away from his daddy coaching it on the sideline.
For sure.
Mr. Coach Price is knows to his X's and O's. So Stuttgart, y'all going to be a good football team next year. I expect to see y'all right back quarterfinals, semifinals next year. There's nothing to make me think that y'all won't be there again.
Anyway, back to Bryant.
Sorry.
7 out of 8. In the largest classification in the state, that right there is unbelievable.
There's 2 teams you should never pick against in state finals, Brad. Who are those 2 teams?
Bryant.
And
Who?
Taylor and softball, buddy. You know that. South Arkansas, baby.
Well, I mean, they've won 8 in a row, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, 7 out of 8 and 8. That's really impressive.
They've won
I'll
like
throw
15 in 20 years.
Throw you another one, Russellville Soccer.
Yeah, that's a fact. My gosh,
9 out of 11 or something like that.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, I guess that's all we got right now. We'll talk about the upcoming matchups, and then we got to get to basketball. I guess we'll start that next week.
Yep. Start rankings for them next week.
We're efforting. Here's what we're efforting right now. Number one, we're efforting for all of our finalist coaches. We want to talk to them. We're also trying to get Coach Paul Simmons from Harding. We want to talk to him as well. I know it's not high school related, but we want to talk to him about what's going on there at Harding. Harding is one of 5 teams in the state of Arkansas still playing football right now.
Yeah, just so you know, if you haven't heard about Harding, they are within striking distance of having over 7,000 yards rushing in a season. 7,000.
Right.
Which is freaking incredible. They have like, what, 7,000 total yards on the year, a little less? You know, the numbers are astounding. They average 8.9 yards a carry.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous.
Anyway, with that said, we're working on that. So there's 5 teams in state playing football right now, and they're one of them. And if they win, they'll be playing for the D2 National Championship, not this coming Saturday, which they're playing in the semifinals this Saturday. They are in the Final Four right now. But next Saturday, they'll be playing in McKinney, Texas for the state championship. Or
Who's
state
on the other side?
National championship. I know that
South Dakota?
Ferris State is one of them. Ferris State is the defending champions. Ferris State actually beat Harding last year in the 3rd round, I think, which they were in the same region. Well, what ended up happening is people started saying, hey, wait a minute. This region's got all the good teams in it. We've got to switch it up and split it up. So they did.
Which was good for the D2.
They split it up.
It was the right move.
So I'll tell you who Ferris State plays. Ferris State plays Newberry. So what they do is they actually reseed them after it's done. So they seed 1, 4, 2, 3. Harding got the 3, and they are playing at Kutztown, Kutztown, which is in Pennsylvania.
Oh, wow.
And they'll be playing at 3:30 p.m. on Saturday. Ferris State plays at noon on Saturday, and that's on ESPN Plus. Kutztown, Kutztown.
That's the name of the school?
That's it, Kutztown.
Oh, that's weird.
Kutztown. Well, Division II is a little bit different. Got a little bit smaller colleges and stuff like that. So, anyway, all that said, that's who's playing left. That's who's left in football for Arkansas. And we're pulling for Harding to win that one, and hopefully I can go down and get some Texas barbecue.
That'd be awesome.
Right?
That'd be you making that trip. I ain't going.
Well, I promise you, I will take a picture of my Texas barbecue if I get it. Anyway, guys, appreciate you joining us here. Members-only stream tomorrow night. We're going to be talking football and who knows what else. We're just going to talk, I think, probably, and maybe even give you our picks. And so if you're interested in that, join us. I'm not saying that we're going to keep our picks from you just because you're not a member, but you may get them first as a member.
Yep.
And anyway, if you want to be a part of that as a member, you'll get the ASN Basketball Classic coming up on January the 3rd, and that is in Clinton, Arkansas. We'd love for you to join us. Come out and support. Got great basketball that day. I mean, some really, really good matchups.
Yeah, going to be a fun day in Clinton.
When I'm looking at some of our rankings right now, I can definitely see some teams that are going to be a part of that. So, anyway, that being said, we do appreciate you joining us. Let me see what Bill Boyd, what did he say here? They said last year about Newport and this year about Bismarck and Salem as well. Okay, so there you go. Bill, I think what he's saying is that they're saying Fordyce will give matchup problems to Mansfield. Bill says Bismarck, they said that about Bismarck and Salem too. So anyway, well, we're going to break it up here. Appreciate you joining us. We'll be back tomorrow night. We may come back tomorrow. We got to talk some Razorbacks. What's going on? I mean, just be looking for us. We'll be out there. All right.
See you, folks.
See you later.